Hi everyone, this is Kelly with Kelly Ann Crafts. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in McKinney, Texas, and this is our second video. This card, I'm going to call a 2-for-1 kind of card because the Designer Series paper is going to do most of our work for us, but when we make our cuts, we'll be able to make 2 cards. So if you've got a kit from me, you'll end up with enough to make 2 cards, put it that way. We're using the Delicate Whispers um, Sweet Again. And this time we are using this stamp here. And then I'm also using from, and this is an online exclusive, I'm also using the Happy Birthday from Banner Sains. This is currently in the new May to through August catalog. So love this. It does come with a punch. However, my punch is packed away because I'm getting ready to move. So we're going to be doing this the old-fashioned fashion way on the video, but if you have the punch, feel free to use it. So let's look at what we're making. We are making a set of cards, and we're taking Designer Series paper and cutting it at an angle, and we're going to come up with 2 cards. They're very simple. On the inside, we have got this. Now, this is raised up, and the reason for it is because I've done something with the ribbon, so it was bulky otherwise, so we raised it up. And but I think this is a fun card, very generic. And I tried to use papers that could go in any direction. If you have directions, be sure that you're looking at the direction of the paper and cutting accordingly. So let's look at what's in our kit. Now, if you got a kit from me, it's kind of doubled up like this. This is your second card for the most part, and you will take one of these and one of these to put in the second card for your happy birthday or whatever sentiment you choose to use. We are only going to do 1 card on the video, but you'll see what we're doing, and so you can just make the other card. You did receive enough ribbon to do both cards in 1 strip. I liked to make sure you had that. And then the card pieces are as follows. These are a 1/2 inch by whatever length you need. I just had this size and it's just a 1/2 inch. I'm only going to use about 2 inches of it. And this is probably about 4 inches or 3 inches. It's more like 4 inches by 3/4 of an inch. If you got your kit from me, this may be a 1-inch piece, but it really needs to be 3/4. So I would trim it down before you put that together. I'm going to put that off to the side. Our base card is out of Basic Beige, and it is 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. And we're going to come in, we're just going to burnish that real quick. And then we also have in here, we have 2 pieces of Secret C. These are 4 inches by 5 1/4, so 4 by 5 1/4. And then we have 3 pieces of paper here. We have a Designer Series paper 1 and Designer Series paper 2 and a piece of basic white. These are all the same size, which is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Okay, so that makes it pretty simple. So we are going to do our stamping first and our cutting second. So let's get the things out that we need to stamp with. I'm going to use what I call the sloppy paper, and you'll see why. And then we'll need this piece here. So for the sloppy paper, we're going to start with our wheats, and we will stamp a little bit of wheat on our inside piece. And we're just going to go right there with it. So that's our inside piece. We're going to do our envelope. And then we'll do the front of our envelope. And that should be it for the wheat. Now, if you're doing both cards at once, you'd stamp both cards in the same manner. Okay. But I'm just showing you one for right now. So this can be set aside. And then this is our sentiment. And this is going to be the happy birthday. So I'm going to bring this in here. And I'm going to try to stamp this straight. Now I gave you enough room that one of these will actually do 2 cards. But if you're, having trouble with it, you can always, if you don't like how it's stamped, you can always try a second one on the same piece. You actually have enough, depending upon what size I gave you, for a couple of them there. Anyways, that's all the stamping. So let's get into what we need to do with our designer series paper. So what we're going to do with our designer series paper is we're actually going to cut off a portion of the paper. We're going to stack these on top, one on top of the other, facing up. If you want to use this side, that's fine. I mean, that's a nice contrast, but I wanted the copper and blue here. So decide which corner you want to cut. I think maybe I'll cut this corner like this. And you're just going to angle this in your trimmer and get the size you want. I put one corner down at the 1, and then the other one I think I had on the 2 before. Just make sure that they're lined up snug together. And if you think that's too much, you can bring it back down to, maybe 1.5 is better. So let's try 1.5 on this one. So 1 by 1.5. So this is the little bit you're going to cut off. I'm going to go to, I think I'm just going to go to 2. I like 2 the best. Okay. And I'm going to snap down my trimmer. Now, normally when I'm cutting on a diagonal, I snap it like this and go down and then up. And the reason I do that is I don't want any edges snagging. Okay, so we'll pull that out, put this aside. And now we've got our front piece, a front piece, a piece that can go right here. It's going to perfectly match up because you cut them together. So it's going to go like that. Okay, so this is your second card. So I'm going to just take this and put it in that other envelope that we put to the side to make later. Okay, so that goes there. So next we are going to assemble. We are first going to do our inside, and so let me put this on here. And everything is about 1/8 of an inch border. That seems to be my go-to, sometimes in a 1/16 in an inch mode, but lately I've been in the 1/8 inch mode. So now this can actually be put on with tape or glue. I'm going to use glue because I want to be able to slide this around a little bit if I need to. So let me do that. And I'm just looking at these corners and getting it about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to bring in my bold folder. That's to flatten out that glue. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to do it again on the back side with a little more pressure. I don't put a lot of pressure on the front side when I'm doing that. So there you go. Okay, now we're going to glue this last piece in. And I'm just actually going to put glue on here. I'm not using the tape on here, and I'll tell you why. It's humid here today, and because it is humid, it appears to be making this paper want to stick to the tape runner and literally stick to it and roll up with the tape. So it shreds the paper, so I don't want to do that. So let me flatten this out. And I'm going to take it over to the other side and flatten it real good here. This just makes sure there's no bubbling in that designer series paper. Okay, we have our 2 pieces together. But first, before we put these on our card base, we're going to put some ribbon on here. And I'm going to use 2 pieces of Scotch tape. And I'm just going to hang them on a light here for a minute. Okay. And I'm going to just put this on this side, covering my seam. I'm going to flip that over here, and I'm going to take a piece of Scotch tape, and I'm going to tape that baby down. I'm just taping it down. Then I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to do a similar thing. We're just taping this down. Okay, and now I'm just going to trim this off because I don't need any more of that. Just going to look at that, make sure it's straight. It's pretty straight there. Now I'm going to take about, a 4 or 5 inch piece off of here. I'm just going to snip this. You have more than enough to do your second card. In fact, you probably have too much ribbon, but it's better to have too much and then not enough. And so I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to do a half hitch on here knot and put it wherever you want. Kind of looks like you tied it that way. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with a glue dot. And this is my favorite thing to do underneath this. I'm going to take your pick tool. I'm going to pull off a glue dot here. I'm going to put it right underneath the knot itself and press down. That secures this completely. And then I'm going to come in. I'm just going to angle my little ribbons so that they look cute. Aren't those cute? They're very cute. Okay. So we've got that part done. So let's put this in our card base. We're going to start with this piece. I'm going to glue this only because the paper just wants to shred on me. I've wrecked 3 of them today. So if you find that that's happening with you when you're using a tape runner and the paper, and you can use glue, I would. Otherwise, you just have to wait till it's less humid out. And then it doesn't do that. Somehow it's just tacky enough and the paper's just porous enough that it lifts up and shreds. Okay, now for the front, we are going to put dimensionals on here. So you're going to go, oh wow, she's going nuts with the dimensionals. Like I usually do anyways, but there's a reason for this. If I had long strips, I could put strips around the corner, but I don't have those right now. But I want to lift this up so that the ribbon is in a bulge, and that's really why we're doing this. But I also like to use a lot of dimensionals. At my phrase, they're cheap as chips. One should just use them. They did go up a little bit this year, but you know, on the whole, when you think about it, they're still a very good value. 300 little things for you know, just $5. And as you can see, I'm using my take your pick tool on this, and I'm just poking them and lifting up. They're all on the little poker. I can put that right in the dustbin, nice and neat, not flying around my house. They do like to do that. I want to let you know. Now, when you've got dimensionals on here, be sure you've got this position where you want it, because once you put it down, that's where it is. So there we go. Now, we are going to work on this. This is our sentiment, which is going to go in there. So I'm going to cut this like this. Now, the original has got a dovetail on here, and there is a punch that will do this for you. I, like I said, have put the punch away. So instead, we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. And it's not really all old-fashioned. I'm going to make this a little bit more even. Okay. And so I'm going to come in here just a little bit with a snip here in the middle, and then I'm going to angle up from each corner, and I'm going to make my own little dovetails. There's one, oops, and then, oops, let's do the middle part first. There we go. Okay, so that's that. I have another happy birthday for my second card if I want it. Maybe it's not, I did it crooked, I don't know. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on this so I can slide it around a little bit. Okay, and I'm just going to set this on here, trying to get it about as even as I can all the way around. That's pretty good. There we go. And then I'm just going to come in with my snips here and just snip up, and that is my sentiment. We're going to put 2 dimensionals on here. And like I said, I'm only doing one of the cards on the video. You can follow the video and do the second card. I think that's really a fun little card with its envelope. It's pretty, and if you want to see what they both look like together, well, here's one of the other ones that I did. So I want to thank you for joining me today. This is video 2. We're calling this a 2-for-1 card, and I hope you enjoyed this a lot. Have a blessed day, and please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye-bye.